There's 1, 2, 3. Just wait on YouTube. Whew, man, this is insane. Okay, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. We're gonna do something different. Instead of playing the intro, we've got Kandice Ko, beloved sister, with us today for the second time, and plus she's been on one or two open mics. But anyway, so this is, and she's a great lyricist, or whatever you want to call it, poetess, or whatever you want to call it. And she wrote this, and I need to see about your friend who actually does the voice on this. But you wrote this, and we're going to play it now while everybody has time to come in. So Kandice wrote this. It's pretty powerful. This beloved brother, who we'll talk about in a minute, and he performs it. So I'm going to play it now instead of our intro and allow people time to come in. Let me just get everything set up here. All right, boom. And where did it go? Let me just flip it. Oh, here it is. Okay, here it is.
Yeah. Tsunami Diamond. I am so thankful and blessed right now. Feeling so much love, support, wisdom, and guidance from the divine feminine and all of the goddesses that are coming into my life right now. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for supporting me. The way is ever clear now that I see it. I'm no longer in fear now that I free it. There's only one thing to do, be it now that I conceived it. The truth ever clear as I be it, ever near as I received it. I am light disappeared as I reappear it. The masses are here and they are you. The great ones are awakening and this is true. Thank you for rising from the light in you. Lighting up the family tree of star seeds, the true Christmas tree is the tree of Christos. Lit by we, light by light, I see we see. The family tree of light, of oneness. Lit by eternal love, unity. Is you, all you have to do is be the light in you. As I take all off, that is not me. I rise as the truth, the love I used to seek. I bow to the great one that has caused the love to be found in me, my inner wizard of Oz. Wise as the sunrise, as the sunset, as the rain is wet. Wise to bow to the one, and wise to rise as the sun, and rise to do it again and again. And every single moment I choose to transcend all of my connections, transparent, full of light. Light all I touch and all that touches me, a welcoming to a homecoming, to all that you can be, as I can be, in all I do, in all I see. I will unfold, turn inside out. I am just as I am. What more do I need to understand? Create from this love and be this love. Many a story have been told, many a story will be told, and from here now I unfold. From my love be told, from my heart be told. For as the story changes and rearranges, one thing remains, that I am, and that I is love. The only thing to do is be that love. Unfold from there into everywhere. Be as you are, and we're meant to be. How you know in your heart, you are to be. For we are each other's keys, and your simply being can help unlock the we. Everything is far more connected and intertwined than we can even have the capacity to realize in these minds. Realize as you bear witness, may you be realigned to the inner love of these magical times. By the grace connected to the great heartbeat, it's time to unite the tribes and get off your seat. I am as a tree, I work at transmuting density. I anchored into this reality, and my heart field expands from within me. The canopy of I am extends far above me. The roots of I am flow deep, deep, deep. I transmute the densities, I absorb organically. As a tree converts CO2 into oxygen, I turn densities into light with my heart engine designed with this intention. I am a triple of light. Stand with me as a forest of treacle, sending light into this atmospheric steeple, a feeling deep. vibrational sensation full of useful information, a physical translation beyond words and beyond temptations of projections from a mental concentration. The feeling and sensing bodies are changing, and it is with great elation that we as a collective endure and ensure this transformation. Always rerouting focus back to the heart gate, stargate, away and the way. Away from the blame game, the me and they fame, the disempowerment chain. It is now time to remain, reframe and remain, growing into the lion's mane. This energy that stands for pride, the type of pride that lays it all on the line. The type that is vulnerable for it works as one pride.
Holy crap, man. Jeez. That's about as powerful as you can. Hang on, let me let me get my bearings over here. Wow, that was just like, what? I don't remember it having that impact on me before. I remember playing it, but God, that was just freaking. I mean, that was like, that's my style. You know, people talk about activations and channelings. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. So you wrote that.
Yeah.
You wrote that.
He went on my Instagram account right when we connected, and we connected really powerfully. You know, when we came together, it was just like we'd been corresponding with one another for eons of time. So it was like in sync. And I said to him, like, I flow, you could rap some of my flows. And like, can I go on your page and just string some of them together? I just flow, you know.
Yeah.
He tied them together. So there's probably about, I don't know, 12 poems that I wrote that he strung all together. He put them in that order.
Oh, so he took, I was wondering, because it's about 4 or 5 minutes long. So, because I thought, man, how the hell did she write all that in one, you know? Wow.
These are all segments. So it all came through in different times. But I don't know if he went from the bottom of my page and just like found them and strung them together. So, and then he did that like very effortlessly and sent it to me, and I was just floored.
I mean, yeah, how could you not be? I mean, that's just like, that's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely, totally amazing. And I know you sent me his information, and of course, you know, that's not always a good idea because I get inundated, but I'm definitely, so he's Tsunami Diamond, right?
Yeah.
That's his name?
Yeah. Divine timing too, right? Like truly.
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely need to get him on here. And yeah, because that's a huge activator, that type of energy.
Yeah.
And the collaboration too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a testimony to collaboration and just like showing up authentically, and then like, putting your stuff together.
Yeah.
And how powerful that can be. There is something I want to shout out with regards to him. He's involved in something, you might have heard of it. It's harmonizinghumanity.org.
Harmonizinghumanity.org. Could somebody put that up in the comments? I'd appreciate it.
It's
Harmony. What's it called?
Harmonizing.org. It's a 3-day interactive virtual experience for co-creating our future.
Wow.
The global summit is happening July 24th, 25th, and 26th this month.
Wow.
And it says here, join 100,000 plus people from around the world. A global event to unite all the tribes of light workers and raise the vibration of the planet.
Wow.
And the lineup is phenomenal. So like if you go and look at the lineup,
so it's an ongoing 3-day thing, nonstop, pretty much.
Yeah, I believe people are just the speakers are just like gifting. There's going to be speakers. There's going to be all sorts of activations. I'm going to make it as a gift.
That's it, man. That's the way to roll.
Yeah,
It
it's
really is.
right.
Yeah, I mean, we've been uh, constructing the network, and that's the whole idea. Is like what he's doing, what that group is doing, is just to have, like, just like, say, one channel would be like 1 to 2 hour DJ spots. DJ being somebody who's just sitting in this chair and playing whatever videos they want, whatever the case is, doing whatever they want. But then another channel might be just like what they're doing and just run it 24/7 and just
Yeah.
make it interactive, and like Wikipedia, like where you just go in and do your own thing and make it. That's what one of the reasons it's taken so long, because it's all going to be constructed by everyone. There's no censorship. There's no, just let people roll with it. And if it sticks, which will be based on, the percentage of viewership that it pulls in, then that will determine not only the abundance that's distributed from the contributions people put up, because it's a free community service, but also, the airtime, will be based on, how much people resonate with it. So this is the wave of the future, man. This is the language and this is what I love about you, because I mean, you're always plugged in, like Delia that was on here just a minute ago. You're always plugged in. You told the story last time. I mean, you're in a phenomenal story behind your relationship with your partner. You're a mom, you're plugged in. You do, you obviously write incredible verse, and you make videos, and your videos are just like, they're so real. You have that I am soul aspect of, getting past embarrassment, not afraid to show your ass kind of thing. You just bring it. And you're clued in, man. You're connected. I mean, you can tell from not so much from your expressions and your posts and your words and your videos, but just your frequency. You're like tapped in, totally, which is really cool. For a 19-year-old. She looks like you're 19 years old. So I'd love to get your take on this period. I guess we go back to the first eclipse, 5 weeks ago, but especially this past 5-6 days, and today was the final part of it. I mean, we had full moon, Sirius in conjunction, and you had the last eclipse. You had the planets line up, 9 planets line up. I mean, and then of course the forecasting of the Francos and the Jason Estes and so on, Sandra Walter, and they're all falling in place together. But on an individual level, everything I've picked up on, and certainly everything I've been through, it's been huge. It's been like a big giant mirror magnified like 1,000,000 times in your face. Have you experienced that part? Let's talk about that part, man. That's like the whole, it's never them, it's always me, is like super accentuated now.
Mm-hmm.
How's it been for you?
It's been that way, so in recognizing that, it's like, okay, thank you. What is this? How am I working with this? How am I going to engage with this or not?
Yeah.
Just recognizing my choice point in responding in the way that I used to respond, or recreating that. So I'm like, oh, okay, pause, deja vu. I'm seeing this mirrored again. How am I rewriting this?
Yeah.
And the rewriting part has been a strong message. It's like, okay, we're breaking through as a collective, as the individual and the collective. We are breaking through barriers.
Yeah.
And then, once we're in that field, that open field, it's like, okay, what are we going to do now? We're not going to go back into the safety of unconsciousness, which is a strange thing to say, and pull out all our old reactions and responses. We're literally, or at least I feel like I'm having to reprogram all my responses, because I feel sort of like a clean slate in a way. In some ways,
yeah,
where I'll feel sort of like the old programming there, because like even though I've neutralized it, it's still an option.
Yeah. Well, because it's like it's like getting on a bicycle, you know, after you learn to ride it, you don't even think about it, or driving a car. And I like what you said about the clean slate too, because I believe that's true in a certain way, and certainly not strictly a human way, but I can get what you're saying. And then something presents itself to you. So you have, even though you have neutralized it, the only choices you know of are what's occurred. And you're right. We're in a space where you've got to create your way out or come up with something new, because not only do the old reactions not work anymore, but everything old doesn't work anymore. Like, how do you build a network, or how do you collaborate and make a masterpiece like we just played? Or none of it works anymore. You know, like I was telling her on the last show, like, you can't plan anything. And so it's kind of weird with the show, because you got to schedule it. But you know what I mean? It's just weird. You know, it's weird. I've been saying for a while that the biggest challenge, if you will, is getting used to the clean slate and the new math, right?
Yeah, I have, I resonate with the term the pathless path, and I've heard Martin speak of this. I can't remember his last name.
Martin McNichol.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome.
So awesome. I resonate with him very,
really
very
do.
well.
Yeah.
Total soul family, soul brother. And when you were talking about the 24-hour and like having a DJ, I actually thought of a literal DJ, and I thought of Martin, because
yes.
I love what he brings through.
Yes.
And how he like adds his.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Like so energetically speaking, that's what you're saying. So it's like, he's a DJ. He was a DJ for a long time, but what he's bringing is a remix. It's a remix, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, yeah. I kept hearing for a while, we're the remix to Ignition, which is our Kelly.
Yeah, the remix to Ignition.
Hot and fresh out the kitchen.
It's all about flow, no more friction. I got to work on my diction. No, I get around you and I just want to start rhyming. So Martin's a great example of the energetic transformation that's happening on an individual basis with yourself and other people. So what I love about him, I heard about him last year, and I heard about his mystery school, and there was a lot of people that were coming on the show and talking about him and stuff. And I had this thing. It was my thing where I was like, oh, that kind of stuff just doesn't sound good to me. And then I had him on the show, and then him and his wife came on the show, and his kid. But what I'm getting at is, it's one thing to be remix something, but it's another thing to be in a constant flow of remixing. Like, he doesn't show up. Like, we had him on like 2 weeks ago, and he was so raw and so real. I mean, here's this guy who's having these dimensional experiences in awake state in the middle of a coffee shop. His kids putting him into stasis. I mean, he's having these things happen, yet he was going back to the basics. He was like, Todd, for 6 months I've been in hell. He was talking about the raw stuff, the real stuff. And to me, that you can't remix until you get to that point. You have to be real.
And that sort of brings us back to like what we've been going through and wanting to assist people in removing the densities that they're sort of are in their field, so that when these waves come, these waves can be used as a catalyst to really propel them forward into that new creation, as opposed to just coming in and like hitting against the densities, because they'll just bring the densities up, and then it's like, okay, you got to face these densities as they're being collided into by the waves.
We talked about that a little bit on the last show, and this is, and Morgan and I have talked about this. Or actually, I listened mostly, but and that is especially because for energy practitioners, because that's their bailiwick, and so how do you continue to assist now that the wounded healer archetype has died, right? And how do you continue to serve and assist, because the math has changed? And like we just talked about, you can't do it the old way, but I love this person, or I love all people. So do I say something or do I not say something? And if I say something, you know, do I continue to, I mean, we can't enable each other anymore, but at the same time, how do you do that? Do you just do it through your own stabilization and balancing and zero
Yeah.
pointing? And then
Yeah.
energetically, their soul picks it up. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Big time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
it. And it's funny, you know, when we'll try and do it the old way, how that will kind of come back at you.
I know it does. I know it does. It's like, you know, I've had such an evolution with myself, in especially with Morgan. So, you know, all these programs running, and, you know, and she understood some things from a galactic and a higher perspective that I didn't, but there was things that, you know, and it was just this whole thing, masculine, feminine. But one of the things that I kept hearing about, going back about 3 or 4 months ago, I just kept hearing, no matter what, just hold space. So the first thing is my ego was like, oh, okay, well, I got this shit down and they don't, whoever that may be. So I'll just hold space for them. Then I started to realize, no, you're holding space for yourself. Just shut up.
Right.
And shut up. Don't say anything. Take it all in. It could be 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, and then you'll land. And so that's really helped me a lot. And I don't look at myself very often and go, oh, wow, you did a great job. But I have done that several times in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought, you know what? It works. And it is a remix. It's not the old way. It's not like you're holding something in and suppressing it. You're just allowing, you know.
Yeah, really allowing and going by that internal guidance system that you're cultivating a relationship with, and feeling through that, you know. I feel like I'm learning from the inside out,
Yeah.
and everything in my life is exactly what I need to help me put that into practice.
Yeah.
And like the more I sort of embody a greater level of my eternal self within this human being, it's attracting actually that experience into my life specifically for that. It's all tailor-made for this process. And the quicker you get into the groove of that, the more you're in flow, and you know, like, I know this dance. Like you have the invitation of from the old reality way coming to you, like a perfectly catered test. Like, hey, you want to dance in the old way? And you're like, oh crap, like I do.
Yeah, right. God,
That.
I gotta tell you something that happened to us a couple of days ago, right? 2-3 days ago. So a little backdrop. So and this goes back to when I started Sology. I mean, I was writing stuff. It was much more volatile. It wasn't as balanced, and so there was a lot of disclosure stuff that I would put out. One of them had to do with police brutality, and I have had my own experiences in the few years ago and beyond that, with the law, with police, with the legal system and the bullshit and all that, right? So I had, and I learned, hey, you can't feed the monster. But I noticed with this whole influx of that, the last, 2 months or so, that I started to get pulled into it. When I say pulled into it, I would just go to YouTube and I would just watch these videos. And I would say to myself, why are you watching these videos? And then it would come in, well, you're helping transmute this somehow. But my conscious mind wasn't getting like lit by it and getting pissed off, or, it was weird. So then something came in, and it was this lady, Marina Jacoby. I don't know if you saw that show. She's incredible. And she was talking about the holographic structure and how there's overlays. Like there's the structure, and then by having this belief system, or really, and I don't know how she explained it, but by putting your attention on it, you're putting an overlay down. So we found this place after 3.5 years on the road. We find this place. It found us. It's really cool. When you come into it, there's a continuation of the street that I guess they stopped it, and they just dead ended. And at the dead end is our driveway. So you have to go down this hill, and it's a hill, and you dead ends, and you go into our driveway. Well, it'd been vacant for a few months. So we're going to the store a couple of days ago, And I'm driving, and we start to pull out of the driveway, and this cop comes, into the dead end area, and he motions for us to stop, and he gets out of the car. And I was okay. And he walks up and he says, "What are you guys doing back here?" And I said, "Well, we live here." He said, "I need your ID." I said, "No, I didn't do anything. Why would you need my ID?" And then Morgan's like, "I'll give you mine." So she hands it to the guy. And I said, and I'm looking at him, and I'm not in total rebel mode, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not giving up my sovereignty. I'm not going to accommodate this. And it worked out. He just said, "Hey, you know what? This place has been vacant. We found people back here because it's kind of hidden. And we've pretty much everyone that we found back here, we've arrested." And I had said something to him like, "Hey, the owner's on the other side working on it right now. He can tell you that we're here. We got the garage door opener and the key to the front door." He said, "No, I want you to prove it, not him." And I was just like, "No, whatever." But anyway, so it worked out. But what I'm getting at is I came out of it over the last couple of days thinking about it. I'm not watching any more of the videos at all. I don't need to. That is what you were saying a minute ago. That's what you were saying. That's what reminded me of it. So it's weird. It's a weird new math.
The overlays are like frequency bands, or they're like a catalog that you can flip through. You literally are calling that in, and it's getting faster and faster. Yeah. So people could, really benefit from recognizing what they're calling to themselves, because you're either calling them, it can all be good, right? It can all be for your highest opportunity to embody and like move through lessons that you could really just move through, and then you're like in the next layer of expansion.
Yeah.
Or you can just keep butting up against those like same lessons for like quite a bit of time. Yeah. It's also a gift to have those come back into your sphere when you're in a new level of embodiment.
Yes.
It shows you how far you've come, and you're like, whoa, that would have totally tripped me up before.
Yes.
That would have spun for maybe a week or longer. Like, we're just flipping through it so fast as a collective. And as we do that, we can hold space for beings who are maybe just starting to move through that stuff. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like we're going to get, like, something's going to happen. I feel something coming where it's like going to be able to grant people almost like a quick pass if they want it.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to what you said, that we're however you put that at the top of the show, like, because like I know that's a great example again, because I had two, probably more than that, but I had two serious YouTube episode type of situations a few years ago. And I at the time, I couldn't see it at the time, what you're saying. But I guess what you said, the last thing that you said about when you've elevated, and it's such a gift when it comes back into your field, because then you can see how far you've come. And what I learned, I guess, in this this expanded state of awareness, is that focus is focus. It's a lot of it has to do with charge. Are you charged negative? Are you charged positive? But I realized from the other day, it's what you're thinking. It's what you're watching. You don't have to get a charge out of it, because what you're watching, somebody just put it in there, that your reaction, Sita Devi says, reaction creating interaction. So that really made me think, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be even more careful about what I'm imagining, because that's what it is, what I'm creating in my head, because it is coming quick now. It's coming fast.
So when you're saying that focus, immediately I heard like Hocus Pocus.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like that. It's like magic. It's just like your focus is your divine attractor, and then the way that you feel. We're literally recognizing how we directly interact with the energetic environment as energetic beings, as lock and key, and then our environment, our energetic planet matrix it responds directly to us.
Yes.
Let's call it on in an awesome way. Let's call on the play. Let's call on the collaboration. Let's learn how to move through the densities in a more lighthearted, innocent, surrendering way, like almost even playful. Like it doesn't have to be really, we don't have to go through the full emotional spectrum to relieve some of these things.
No.
And I wanted to answer you, because I don't think I did, about the wounded healer.
Yeah.
You know, because okay, everything that we were creating while we still had our wounds was from that wound, right? It just was involved in our creation because it was in our field. But like, as we remove those densities, as we become more clear, everything that we do becomes more clear. So now we're healing from a place of, it's from a different place. It's not like, okay, don't heal anymore. No, that would be like saying to the white blood cell, don't be the white blood cell anymore.
Yeah.
That would suck.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It's true. And I love what you said too, because it is become more and more obvious. It's an energy game, you know, not to make light of it. But like, if you're, like if you
gnats off of each other, you know how monkeys, they're social creatures and they pick off the gnats and they eat them, and that's what I see healing as. And I know that, like, I hope that is like taken in a lighthearted way, but like beings who have the capacity and the inclination to heal, it's just a natural thing. It's like almost like scratching someone's back,
right
or
on.
like holding the door open for them or whatever. Like, it's just, we love that as a soul, and we've invested a multitude of lifetimes to cultivate that because we love it. It's like part of the essence. Just like you'll have some souls that are like musical geniuses, or like this type of engineering being that comes in and like, so there's no like hierarchy or like, you know what I mean? Like everything's just becoming equal.
It is.
Equalized, but like also, you know, and the COVID situation. Oh, sorry if I'm not supposed to say that word.
I don't know. That was like a very short-lived thing. How could you avoid it? I just got to say real quick, Martin McNichol stepped into the Facebook.
Hey.
Want to tell him we were talking about him. His ears were probably burning. So we were part of the Admiration Society of Martin McNichol. Thank you for your work. No, but yeah, the COVID thing. I think the COVID thing is a great creation. We created together, all of us. Like it is an acceleration or an accelerator of the transition we call Ascension.
Absolutely. And it showed us the value in our smallest parts. Every part is valuable. You know who got a raise? All the people that worked in the little factories were like, oh crap, we need you to keep working there. Like, we're going to give you a raise. Now all of a sudden, like, I was like, oh my goodness, like, are the garbage collectors going to stop collecting garbage? Because then now it's like all of these service positions just became like, wait a second, this is like really valuable. This is really integral to our recognizing how we're interdependent.
Absolutely.
And honoring that, and that honoring can go far and wide, infinitely inward and infinitely outward.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we create from here with no judgment, no good or bad. I mean, it's like, I mean, I still think that, first of all, there's so much of the year left. Things have moved. I mean, if you could measure and encapsulate the 1st of June through today, I don't know. I would have to say that first of all, if you took the 1st of January to the end of May, I would say I would put those 5 months up against the previous 9 years of my remembering.
Easily.
But the last 6 weeks, blows away the first 5 months of 2020. So with the trajectory like that, can we anti-age? Can we teleport? Can we, consciously be in the ethers, mutually experiencing the same thing at the same time and the same knowing? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can. We are. like call it all in.
Yeah.
Call it all in and let it go, right? We let it go. We call it all in and we let it go. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm just so freaking excited.
Hmm. Yeah, I know, man. It's like, what do you do? What do you do with this?
You harness it, and like, you know, the encouragement is just like create. And I love that. No judgment. Yeah, create. Like, see how it goes. Create from this point of intention and see how it goes. And don't be attached to your creation. Don't be attached to your creations, but like allow the maturation to happen through that learning, through creation, through harmonic creations.
Yeah, I like that. And I like what you said too about the interdependency. The interdependency is, I guess, from my viewpoint, it's replacing the externalization of things, external seeking love from an external place or
This is a
communicating.
wheel.
That's like, just
That's a
blew my
wheel.
mind. What is that?
That's a wheel. I did a little card read before
Uh,
this.
uh-huh.
And I got all fire cards, which is really profound that I got so many fire cards. But like it's speaking about this like internal flame that we're really burning up. Like
Yeah, we're lighting that up.
we've got the momentum going, and it's like, oh my goodness.
And the connectivity of what thresholds we've crossed. As an example, the Sology comic, Dr. Joe, he must have just done a show with Shanine, because he said we were just talking about this on a show. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, so like, I don't know, it was about 5 nights ago, like 3:30 in the morning, Morgan went to bed and I was outside with the nature beings, and they said, you need to write something now. I don't get those a lot anymore. I used to years ago. And I wrote this thing, and I was looking at it last night, and I've written a lot of stuff over the years, but I don't pay attention a lot to the metrics. But there was like 500, 600 engagements, but more importantly, there was like 250 shares. And it came in not as a, you know, like a validation in that sense of, oh, you did something good. It wasn't like that. It was like, hey, everybody's like doing this. Everybody's getting the same thing at the same time. And if that's happening, that's going to reduce the differences, so to speak, the perceived differences, because we are getting the same understanding, you know. Fire.
Yeah, fire and oh my goodness, this card. I wish I could show you in great detail, but like this is just like all the different vantage points of the one united circle, and that's the interconnectedness of all things that work together with the center point being that unity and diversity, because the diversity is each point of this circle is a vantage point, which is a valuable perspective, a valuable lens. So it's not like this viewpoint is better than this viewpoint. They're all points of view that can be utilized harmonically through the center. And there's so many messages coming through that I want to share. It's like so overwhelming.
Go for it. Go for it.
But so this card, can I just read this?
Do whatever you want to do. Cool? You got the floor.
Integrating all that creative fire is like igniting a flaming pinwheel of fireworks. When everything is out front and all creative ideas are equally respected and celebrated, pure combustion occurs. With all these elements coming together in such a powerful way, expect an explosive finale. So fireworks, celebration. Like the strength key in the major arcana, the 8 of flames is ready to seize the moment, prepared to strike when the iron is hot. The wheels of creation are turning and something is about to pop. Feel the power of that energy whizzing around a central point, about to culminate in an explosion of creative fire. This key is also complemented by the Great Wheel. I'm going to highlight that, which speaks on a grander scale of the ending of a great cycle and the beginning of another. That is what we're in right now. That is what is happening.
Yeah.
Ending of this great cycle, beginning of another. Oh, yeah, okay. So it says, if they both appear in a reading, I'm just going to I feel like this counts, like be ready for all-out explosion and an enormous life-altering turn of events. I think that's us turning this whole system on that we are, and we're witnessing that it's already happening.
Yeah.
You know, built a network, find the ones, connect with the ones. And what does that mean? It's like, find the ones that, and I repeat myself a lot, so forgive me, find the ones that'll hold the infinity stone with you. The Avengers, when they all hold that stone together and like and then they overcome it together, it's like, yeah, it's the individual. I rise as my pillar, but you're another pillar. Like, we need all the pillars to rise as ones, each one as ones together, the one. And that's the collective of humanity that we're forming. We're forming our collective, you know, as the diversity of the, I almost said university, the universe, you know, the galactic.
Well, there you go. University.
Bringing it down to the ground and creating the collective here as the ambassadors of the human love, the human capacity, what we're going to create.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because inevitably, like you said earlier, about these loops coming back to revisit us when we're at a higher vantage point, the gift that they are. But it's interesting, you know, people talked about the Great Divide this year. They talked about it for 2 or 3 years. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And it's like, you know, the conception would be like, oh, the people that are awake over here and the people that are not, or the smart people are here and the dumb people are here. But I don't see it that way. I see it as, at the same time that what you're describing is occurring, you have this external, you know, movie playing, and there's more disclosure. There's, you know, that lady just got arrested, Maxwell, and so on and so on. So you've got this clinging to that. It's again, the externalization, the validation from externalization versus the internal bridge to be built, because we are both parts of that divide. We are not one, because if we're one over here, that means this group over here are the dumb people, or whatever you want to call them. So that divide, that bridge is within us. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because I'm with you. I think I'm more interested not in what's going to be disclosed, but how are we going to rise in our response? What are we going to become as a result of that information coming into our field? Are we going to say, hey, I told you so, and fly the flag? Are we going to go, we need a higher level of compassion? We need to understand that we're far more than this experience that we've shared on the surface. We're much more than that. There's a whole lot more to it. It's almost like something being said taken out of context. To have the proper context is to build that bridge within ourselves.
Yeah. And we're learning to operate from the inside out. Yeah. Going direct.
Yeah.
So there are other beings that are going to be living, they're going to be choosing and being informed from the outside, but we're literally doing the opposite. So I think that that's actually the divide. It's going to be like beings that are going to be choosing to create their reality from this space, and beings that are going to be choosing to create their reality from this space.
Makes sense. Makes sense. As within, without. So in other words, all of those components are needed in order to make it complete, right?
This is another card that I pulled, and I think that this is what was just said. So I'm gonna, where's my book? So this is about choice points on this card. So it's about recognizing more than one option. So we can go from here, or we can go from here. We can create from here, or we can create from here. Okay. And determining the best way to move the creative flow forward. My vote for the good of the one and the all. and making it manifest on earth. From the perspective of one's individual process, it speaks about choosing the right path that will lead to dominion and materialization of the creative inspired process. So bringing it through into the world.
Yeah.
We want to bring it in. We want to bring it through in the space of neutrality. And we want to learn how to create through this instead of creating through polarity. So something's happening. And I got this message a long time ago that our hardware is getting upgraded, and we're the upgrade. We're literally coming in as these internal techs, and we're like the IT people.
Right.
We go, and it's our frequencies and it's our awareness that's the specialty, and we just come in body, and we even say, bring it on. I'm going to pick this lineage, this lineage, this lineage, this baggage, this shit, bring it all on, fill my cart. I'm shopping at the grocery store and I know that I'm going to check out.
I love that.
Check it all through, and it's going to be scanned through this point right here, and then processed properly, harmonically, so that it's not causing ripples of discord forever and ever. That, you know, there's only so much that you want to play in that. Like, I think you even said, like, you get bored. You're like, someone playing the old loop and you're just like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know that feeling. It's almost like a reverb, or like there's their frequency.
It's like fingernails on the chalkboard. And I feel a part of me feels a little bit, you know, judgmental of myself. Don't you have compassion? But I think to myself, no, it's just a matter of, that frequency just doesn't do anything for me. You know, I had an experience a week to 10 days ago, and this kind of information was coming in. And so I guess, you know, they took me, or I went into the ethers, and they were showing me in that realm, you know, that, you know, there's neighborhoods basically. Like you land where you land, you vibrate at a certain place. I remember reading years ago, Emanuel Swedenborg, Heaven and Hell, who was a really phenomenal dude in the Renaissance. And so he, for 17 years, he would lay on his couch and he would go into the ethers. And it was very much an angelic type of translation. I guess, you know, that's where he could relate to. And he showed that there were 72 layers of heaven, or above the line, 72 below the line. And he just simply explained that whatever vibration you're at, you are going to be naturally congealing with that vibrational level. And that if you are in a space where it's not a match, you will be repelled out. And so again, it's not a good or bad, dark or light, but I'm seeing these interactions that you were referring to, that I was talking about. I see them like that. I'm interacting with a universe, or an aspect of me or the universe that just isn't where I'm at. That's all. It's not a big deal.
It's chemistry. Like, even like a chemist could explain it, or could understand like chemical combustions, or maybe I'm going into physics. It's like certain chemical bonds that are stronger than other chemical bonds. And like we see this at the subatomic level, things interacting and attracting things. We're no different. And it is truly all frequency based, which is sound.
Yeah. Sound is it.
Sound and light, which form patterns of geometry, of harmony or not. You know, it's like harmony or not. It's just like, ooh, like something coming together and attracting, or something repelling. Like, it's if you see it like that, you can take the charge out of it and the judgment out of it, and then recognize where the choice is with that. And it's like, what? Like, know thyself is like, know truly your harmonic.
Yeah.
Know truly your baseline. And you know, that could be neutrality or whatever. But like, I feel like everybody has their sort of like homing frequency that they can know.
Yeah.
And then start to navigate based on that frequency.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that's happening on a literal basis with people. Because, you know, people reach out to me, and plus you just see it out there, like what Morgan and I have been doing for 3.5 years. we always wanted to have our own place. I mean, who wouldn't, you know? But we couldn't, because if we tried to stick somewhere, we were pushed out. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's kind of scary, because it is a new math, it's a new language, a new way of life, to get out and follow that honing device within you, right? But that's what it takes. You actually have to move away from what we call our comfort zone, basically. What is that? What's that one? Same thing?
This is a card that I pulled.
Oh my gosh.
And you can either worship and get your guidance from the Buddha outside of you, or you can access that within you. You know, your internal compass. They can both eventually lead you to the same place. One is essentially a shortcut. Like, that's what I call going direct. Instead of having it outside of you, you're like, it's inside of you.
That makes sense.
And that is giving us the power to overcome. Like, this is like the strength and the discernment to, and there's a fire goddess. I don't know if you can see her by the tiger.
Oh, wow. Holy shiitake mushrooms, man. Well, those are some powerful cards.
Oh yeah, this is a powerful read. It kind of blew my socks off before coming on here. It's I just saw them. I'm like, okay, they want to come forward too. It's like this card, this strength card, is about overcoming the primal urges, the primal I might just read this card.
Read it.
Read it. Yeah, we're reading it. Okay. So Homo sapiens is considered the intellectual master of earth biology, the highest form of consciousness of all primates. Yet we still have not managed to learn to control and calm the savage beast within. It is a lesson Starseed has come to learn again and to remember. How are we the beasts of our own passion, and from where do we truly glean our strength to dominate the jungle animal within us? Through the reason of our higher selves and the unconditional love of the heart? The strength key speaks to us the power of love and how the impulsive animal self is embraced and soothed in the softness of the feminine yin spirit. Always prepared to strike, the tiger yields to the grace of the female form, and she, naked and vulnerable before the beast, fears not. The animal, forceful self and the loving, gentle self merge as two aspects of the greater whole. This key teaches us the inner strength is much about gentility and grace, as it is about force and fierceness, the vital and evil and even sexual animal response. So words associated with this is self-mastery, compassion, self-awareness, understanding, respect, and courage. And when I was pulling these cards, I was thinking, like, I always think how, like, I'm asking for myself, but I'm also asking for the collective. I love what you say, as goes the individual, as goes the collective. I really feel like that. And I also witness what you and Morgan witness. You know, you'll witness something first, like you're experiencing the pre-wave of what's to come, and then you see it unfold.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, okay. So then it's proved to you, in a sense, through that, going through that experience, that as goes the individual, as goes the collective.
That's right.
You're like, I'm getting deja vu here. I've just gone through this, and I'm watching everyone go through this.
Yeah.
So
I love what you said too, a little bit earlier, about that whole internal versus external, because you will get to the same place. And I like what you said about shortcut, because I've spent a lot of conscious focus over the last 3 or 4 months on thoughts. Like, instead of dealing with my words or my actions, let's just deal with my thoughts. That therefore there are no words and there are no actions to complicate things. So what I'm finding is, it's not like, okay, what if I do this? Let me play out these scenarios and see what happens. It's not like that. It's more like I'm tapping in. And what did you say right now? Self-mastery. I'm tapping in. What is that thought? Why am I thinking that? Where did that come from? And so I have this whole dialogue, and then what ends up happening, first of all, if I'm doing that, I can't talk. So, I don't have to worry about telling myself to shut the fuck up, just, I don't talk. So that doesn't happen. There's no action. That doesn't happen. And something happens inside of me that now I'm not having that echo of my words or my actions to deal with, that minutia that it creates and take in that distraction it creates from the core issue. But if I were not going to do that, I realize I'd get to the same place, but there is some type of shortcut. And to me, this is the let go part. The other one's be dragged. So I don't want to be dragged anymore. But yeah, I like that, what you said.
That's being rerouted. So like, that was sort of what I was speaking about before. It's like some beings are coming from here. They're literally rerouting. They're rerouting into like this internal heart-centered hub as the guide. That's more the wheel. It's in the center of your being instead of like up here, like the pyramid. Like this is the pyramid coming down and being like, okay, body, like I'm at the top.
Right.
It's more centralized down here, and like in cooperation with the gut, and like all those intimate informations that we get from in here. So this is the Trinity. We're having the mind and the heart and the gut, these main centers work together. And okay, I haven't actually said this before, so this is interesting. So the mind could represent the masculine, and the gut could even represent the emotional, like the feminine, and then the heart could be like that innocent child.
Well, that makes sense.
In the center, we could see it that way. And then
because the masculine tends to be that analytical, logical.
By the masculine and the feminine. And this is like, logical air, and this would be like close to the ground, earth mother, feeling close to the feet. I always like to think of my hands as extensions of my heart. Like I'm like my heart is like has arms and is like doing things with love.
I agree. You know what? There's that one girl, what's her name? Kawana. She does the hand movement. A lot of people do the hand movement. Romeo does it when he does. And I remember years ago, right before I woke up, I started dancing. Go figure, 48 years old, 49 years old. And I would always use my hands. And I was just trying, I don't know, I was just doing whatever. And people would come up to me and say, why do you do your hands like that? I look back at it now and I realized something was happening. Like there was a reason for that happening. I still do that. But now I can see the connection. But I like that.
I'm noticing, I'm recognizing myself in so many people. I'm like, I do that. I do that. I do that. And then actually, as I share myself raw, uncut, I have all these people messaging me, I do that. Can I?
Yeah, right. I love that.
Yes, tell me that you do that. We do that. That's a thing. So I'm like, okay, this is a lineage. We're witnessing our collective family lineage that has picked up all these traits and abilities and ways of being naturally unfolding and unfurling in the human being. That's so incredible to witness that and to recognize that. So it's like, as I know thyself and unfold, I'm able to actually recognize my essence in everyone. And you can get to that highest point where you're like, I recognize the essence of love within all things. Like, we can get that expansive. And if you have little practices like, I am a heart touching things in the world, or like my heart has legs and I'm walking in the world with love, I tell myself little mantras like that. And it changes my reality, and it changes the way that I react and respond with my reality. That's how I reprogram myself.
Well, that's the key word. There's the reprogramming. I mean, I'm married to a reprogrammer, and and it's like you realize, because like what you do, I do that. You just said this, but I do these little things in my head what I would never say to anybody. And I would probably say anything, but I mean, they're like almost like cartoonish, you know?
Yeah.
So I have like this thing. And you know what's crazy is this I've really kind of amped up over the last few weeks. And at the same time, everyone's been talking about their lucid dreams or you know, you have more recall and they're, you know, they're remembering and in my lucid dreams, as I've been amping this up, have become full of color, you know,
Wow.
instead of black and white. Like the colors are like, you know, like really like they're off planet, but they're like really loud. And I'm like, wow, I spend more time looking at the scenery than I do the dream. It's weird. I wonder why, if that's connected. It must be in some way.
That's so wild because I had that experience of having the lucid dreams start up for me in last September. And in this period, I'm not recalling my dreams.
Really?
I'm like a self-proclaimed like dreamer, like dreams are my thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and yet right now you don't dream, but my reality experiences have changed.
Yeah.
And the way that I feel in my body has changed.
Yeah.
I
Man,
had, oh my gosh, there's just so much, right?
the
But like,
body's like front and center right now, man.
oh, that's where that's what I keep getting embodiment, like
Yeah.
greater levels of embodiment, greater levels of expansion, and feeling like the new feeling, literally new feelings. Feelings are new things now. Like don't refer to feelings the way that you used to feel or think of them. Like, oh, I have a feeling it must be bad, it must be because of trauma,
Mm.
or it must be because of unprocessed. No. Feelings are now sensing are now a form of emotional intelligence. They're
Mm.
literally they're like antenna. That's the sensing body. It's honoring the sensing body and all these little. So I'm just developing this
Makes sense.
as I allow and sort of like unshackle myself from program identity, this and that, like allowing these mergings to come together, and then in softening and surrendering to the process, then you'll be able to be like a valuable spokesperson for someone else who's going to go through it. Because it's not like, oh, now's the only time that you can go through it. Because I'm going through it now. It's now. No, it's now for everyone when it's
Yeah.
now for them. It's
Yeah.
always now. The when's your now, and then just getting in the rhythm of allowing the universe to work through you through these waves. Like we're gaining momentum, and we're working it's not like that saying smarter not harder or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really efficiently through the heart and through that discernment that is the smarter not harder. It's like recognizing what you want to engage with and play with, and how that's literally forming your next reality, like your next wheel, like your next reel, like a movie reel.
But it seems so weird because that whole, and somebody just put up a comment, they do the cartoon thing as well. And but it's so weird because that's, you were talking about programming and the tech part, and that's like, like talk about a new computer language. It's like there, it seems to be more potential, more embodiment, and more more alignment in the manifestation of our reality with the cartoon thing than it is with what you go out and do, right?
Deeper connection. It's more like the movie Avatar. We're really recognizing how we are so connected and what do we want to do with that. And like, it would be so beautiful if we could form a unity and diversity network where it's like life honoring principles, and really use one another, because we are interdependent. So really recognizing that and forming.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I got a note from people always put me in these groups, right? Over the years, I must be like in 800 groups. So I figure if anyone's going to put me in a group, I'm going to post, and I don't share a lot of groups, but every now and then I'll do it. So I got this note. I'm not going to name the name of the group. Somebody put me in it. It's a light worker type name. and they wrote me a note and said, we deleted your video. You need to go read the group guidelines. And I thought, of course, the rebel in me first went, fuck that. I'm getting out. But to what you're saying, though, and even in my work with Soulology, there's no doctrine and there's no dogma. And I'm not saying that's the gospel way to go and all that. I'm just trying to make a point that you come off of what you said. And that is that network. And I've been shown this, not just regarding Soulology, but the whole thing. That network is in place. That network, the grid we are the grid. And so what you're talking about is not done through, at least in my opinion, through instruction and through dogma and doctrine and rules and regulations. It's actually done from what you're talking about. Like, I'm going to go serve today from the heart space. It's going to be my legs, my arms, my fingers, my everything. And I'm just going to do it instead of talking about doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, like what you said earlier about when I said, well, what do you do? And you said, well, you do it yourself. And then their soul picks up on it. And like a tuning fork, they're going to align with it, or vice versa. Yeah.
My biggest sort of teacher of that is my relationship, because that's where I would fall back into, like, oh, how do I do this? And it's always like, go back within. Like, it's always the same answer. So
Me too. Me too. Somebody said to me, some lady came on the other day and she said, well, I don't have that sexy romantic relationship like you and Morgan. I said, what are you talking about? I'm not saying it's not there, but man, there's a lot of work going on there. And that work is it's good to communicate, don't get me wrong, but it is what you're talking about. It's like when something happens, because where are you going to get the frequency, the frequency and the volume of loops playing than in your closest relationship?
Yeah. So I wanted to say, to talk about healing pods. I found that, so last year I sort of attracted to myself some soul family members who have been like direct mirrors for me to like catalyze through all of my stuff, but they've been like unconditional love. So like anchors of unconditional love. Well, we bring our stuff together, but it doesn't collide the same way. It's like bring our stuff together, we vent in a sense, but then we heal and restore. It's like revealing to heal and finding the ones who can do that with you.
Yeah.
Something
That's
I'm
a
really
big one. That's a big one. That's a huge one that you just brought up. That's huge because, going from duality to Trinity, right? Everybody's agreed, this is what's happening. So if you have a Trinity or a triad in the most embodied sense, would be people, right? Or maybe groups. But your point is so well taken from my seat. And that is, you've got to be able to go in there and raw, authentically, honestly, privately within that triad, bounce everything around and then come out unified. But you can't hoard any information. This is full transparency. This is total. I always look at it this way. Full-blown telepathy means there ain't nothing about me you don't know. Right? So
it's into you, into me I see, into you I see. Literally. So we're learning how to unveil with one another first before we're like fully unveiled. Creating these safe pods where we can catalyze. But these little healing pod things, I also have called it friendship.
Friendship.
You have your guru, you have your friend, you like you're mentoring each other through your own authentic unfoldment. And I have a few different groups that I'm doing this with.
Wow.
And the results have been out of this world. And I actually want to start writing a program so that I can help assist other beings come together and do the type of work that just so effortlessly unfolded between me and these groups of people.
That's phenomenal.
I have a few other women who have come to me and we've done trigger work, and I'm sure Morgan might know this, or someone might know what I'm talking about. These things that I'm experiencing, I don't say like I do this, they just happen. Like they just come, it just happens. So I align to something because I've called something in somehow. And trigger work, someone saying like, you triggered me, like someone using me as their trigger. I'm their trigger mirror. They're using me as almost like an obsidian mirror.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to hold neutral space as like source essence for this person as they blast me with all their triggers, but then work through them at the same time.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I'm triggered, that's mine.
That's right. That's
what I
right.
learned really quickly, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm your girl. I can hold neutral space for you. I'm all about divine sisterhood. I got that. I'm your girl. And then someone's saying this stuff, and I'm like, oh shoot, that's true.
I like this. I didn't understand quite. I didn't understand it fully when you started it, but now I get what you're saying. What you're doing. That's pretty
It
cool.
can be used as a magnet to draw it out in you, like a poultice. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I see it all. And then you're like, if you don't attach to it as it's coming out, as you're being triggered, as you're watching it come out, you're like, okay, reveal to heal. Like we're revealing to heal it. And then afterwards, at first it gets really intense, like you're having something pulled out of you. But then once you recognize it, you accept it, you own it, like ho'oponopono, right? Neutralize. You've done the work that you do with yourself, with another being. You're healing relationship dynamics. So I've been doing this with sisters to heal sisterhood dynamics.
Wow. That's powerful. That's a powerful thing. That's a powerful testimony too with the, and again, here we go with, we have all these multidimensional experiences and all that stuff and information and all that. And yet it's the open heart, collaborative, co-creative, spontaneous, intuitive, energy, intention, imagination, intention coming together as a human. As a human, saying, hey, here we go. That's powerful. And the fact that what you said about the programming thing, the Ho'oponopono or whatever you use, you can do it that quick. And I live with someone who has, does that. And when I first heard it, I was like, oh man, come on, man. But then when you say something and you feel it lift out of you, you're like, holy shit, like, give me another one. Give me another trigger, right?
Yeah, so you become trigger happy. And I got that from you. I got that inspiration from you, because I think I heard you say blessed. If I'm blessed to get a trigger, I was like, that's the money right there. And I've been using that ever since. So thank you, Todd.
I'm sure I was indirect. That's probably, that's Morgan's influence, but it's true. And, it's, right? She showed me something too, like, okay, so, cause I try to go like you do. Like I look for, okay, so this person's like pissing me off. I need to bring them up. And I work that way and made a lot of progress. But if I have a situation, I know that I can't go in. I can go into that situation because it has to be addressed. Like everything points that way, but I know I've got to go do my work first. I've got to go. Yeah. I've got to pull everything up and say, this is my trigger. This is my stuff. Break it down. Boom. Bring it into alignment. Now I can go have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Relaxation.
Yeah.
Getting to a place of relaxation is so important. And in that trigger work, like when you get triggered and you're like, you contract into it. It's like, but then as soon as you release, if you contract again, you're birthing. You're literally, you're working through, and that's breathing. So you can use these tools. There's so many tools at our disposal to like work through the densities really quickly so that we can get to the fun. I was saying to my friend the other day, it's like, okay, all these densities and programs and trials and tribulations are the mountain. And we're climbing this mountain and we're like, okay, like what's the goal? Like we're going to get to this mountain. And once we're at the top, it's like, here you go. And it's like, what is it? And it's like,
it's going to be like a snowball.
The consolation prize is like enjoyment. It's literally, that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
Being able to enjoy and see the view. Look, you climbed the mountain. You earned this view. Look at it. And it's just like,
yes, that's right, man.
That's it. But that's it. Okay, so you mean it's that simple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Be with who you love, do what you love. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's, man, it's happening for us. Does it mean like
It's
that,
not
like,
mental.
huh? What?
Because it's not mental,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's the heart way. It's
Yeah.
the heart way of being.
Yeah.
Where
You're
you
not
can-
performing. You're not projecting. You're just doing what you love, man. Being with who you love. And I know it sounds hokey pokey and all that stuff, but it's really not. And there's too many people that are that are doing it, that are on that trajectory. We got Ann McCann in 12 minutes. I'm sorry I took you over an hour and 20 minutes, but I love talking to you and I love collaborating with you. And I really appreciate, like I said before we came on, what you're doing, especially now that I found out more about it. I hope you do put that module together because I think that's a powerful thing. It really incorporates a lot of things. And then, of course, it's even more emphasized because you're doing it with other people, which is really cool. But yeah, so I'm going to reach out to you in regard to putting something together like we did 2 weeks ago on a consistent basis. And I figure if we have 4 or 5 or 6 of us, and some of us can't make it, some will always be there. And, I'm just trying to get ready for when the launch occurs, which is now. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel and have some programming in place and some archives in place and some ideas to kind of physicalize that network that you're talking about that is occurring everywhere. This is just one little end of it, but thank you so much for everything. And, all blessings to you and your family and the work you're doing and everything. I appreciate it.
Well, brother, much love.
We'll have to do some poetry next time. Peace out.